from LPI Studios in Memphis, Tennessee, it's R&R on Sports with Uncle Howard Robertson.
NFL grossed $13 billion in 2016. NBA, $6 billion.
Jennifer Conroy.
Last year, it was very distinctly and unanimously, I might add, Curry. To now, everybody stepped their game up.
And the magnificent Larry Robinson.
I think they're extremely hungry for the playoffs. I don't think these guys like going through the dog days of the season.
It's R&R on Sports.
Hello and welcome to R&R on Sports. I'm Howard Robertson.
And I am Jennifer Conroy.
And I am fabulous. I am wonderful. I am super. I am all things that make this world go round and round. I'm Larry Robinson. What's up, America?
Wee.
What's happening, y'all?
What's
How
up?
you doing? How you doing? Basketball.
We playing basketball.
That's right. It's the playoffs.
Yes.
And I just want to start out by saying for all of you, wherever you are, and particularly an individual here that left Isaiah Thomas on the side of the road for dead.
Yeah, they did.
What, for the sick and shut in?
How you like me
They
now?
sleeping on him.
Well, first of all, let's put some respect on my situation, on my comment.
Did anybody call your name?
No, you called me out. You called me out.
shoe fits.
That's right.
Well,
Yeah.
listen.
Individual, you can't classify me with him.
Listen, the reason that Boston moved on to the second round is because Rondo broke his thumb, which I found kind of a little suspect.
Man.
I found it to be a little suspect that all of a sudden
What
Rondo
you
done
think?
broke it.
He's a double agent or something?
Might be.
What?
I don't know.
Another conspiracy theory.
I'm a conspiracy.
Oh,
C-O-N, conspiracy.
Did you see the little Lord Fauntleroy suit that he followed it up with?
I don't understand. These guys are making
Rondo?
so much
Yes.
money. That suit
It was an
so
eggplant
atrocious.
short sleeve suit jacket.
But that was
like the color of it?
yeah. The
Yeah.
eggplant with a short sleeve. It was sad.
Short sleeve.
Short sleeve.
But I think it was because
Tailored.
Short
I think it was
sleeve.
Yes.
I think it was because of the
Yes.
cast that he had on his arm, so he could slide it through.
I think he went shopping in Dwayne Wade's closet.
Well, no, it would be up near his calf. He would have had some short pants.
Okay,
He
now.
wearing short shorts.
So Boston. We're going to come back and talk about it in more detail in terms of the playoffs. But speaking of Boston, while we are in Boston, let's not leave there yet.
Okay, what's up?
Because Fenway,
Oh,
it's some
man, it's bad when you start throwing racial
Terrible
slurs at the daggone national anthem
and
thing.
the outfielder. The outfielder is out there doing his job.
No, he's
Why
out
he
there
got to
bored.
be all that?
Yeah, I just
And
we're in such an
they
ugly time.
threw peanuts at him.
Yep. Well, and you know,
Were they salty?
Yeah, they were a little salty,
Don't play with that.
a little bit saucy. Salty nuts.
Adam Jones really handled himself well.
He did.
He did.
The fact that he's willing to stand up. But what I find interesting is that all of these years, it took Adam Jones to say something about the racism that exists in Boston and also in other cities. But
Did you hear what he said, particularly about that? He said he gets called that out in the outfield all the time, like it's his
But
other name.
Tony Clark, president of the Players Association, MLB Players Association, said the same thing. He said my comments and my experiences are very much in line with Adam Jones.
They said we all know that when we go to Boston, that's what we're gonna get.
Yeah, that's
Everybody knows.
But you know what?
You guys
what?
can't overlook the fact that he said this happens
Check it out.
routinely.
Yeah, but check it out.
Absolutely.
I was walking in South Africa the other day.
Or
Was it Boston?
Yeah.
Oh, Chris Rock.
Chris Rock joke. But we're going to come back and talk about a lot of stuff. We're going to talk about playoffs. We're going to talk about racism in life, but particularly in sports and a lot of other stuff.
Oh, what about them dissing my girl, Serena?
We're going to talk about that when we
Nastasi, you fat. No.
Wait a minute.
woo, tell them.
Come find out what he is, fat
Go get some more.
Find out what's on the other side of fat when you come back and stick with us for R&R on Sports right after this.
Good morning and welcome to the NFL Pre-Draft Money Management Seminar. Most of you in this room are about to sign some very lucrative contracts, and this session should be extremely helpful in making important money management decisions. Our first speaker is Mr. Uncle Ragus Robinson, and he'll be speaking to you about ways to support your community. The podium is all yours, Mr. Uncle Ragus Robinson.
Well, good morning, everyone. And today I want to talk with y'all about how to support your community with all this money y'all about to come into. I want to give y'all 3 important tips on how to manage your money and support community. Number 1, always get your check and get it cashed. Get your money in your hand and have them counted out. Now go down there to Willie Earl's liquor store or whosoever the name is of the store in your community that's been cashing your mama and your drunk uncle's check for years. They'll cash your check and count it out in your hand. Now Uncle Willie Earl or whosoever might have to write a few hot checks to get the cash to cash your big check, but don't worry about that. He know what to do. And make sure you get about $5,000 in ones for walking around money. You know, Stankin' them gonna be asking you to let them hold something. Plus, you can make it rain like hell at the club for Luscious and Big T-Tonia. Keep that money in your community. Number 2, don't put your money in no bank. Bury your money in the backyard. First, you invest in a badass dog. Now, Percy Joe done bred up a male pit bull with a female gorilla. He calls them pit-rillas. Buy you 1 or 2 of them pit-rillas, and up under the doghouse, you install this. See, this is the Uncle Ragus Underground Money Vault, patent pending, complete with sound system, a safe, lighting, and a table and a bar. And the front door is the floor of the doghouse. Number 3, don't move to the suburbs. Stay in your community. Take the money from your first check and buy up Pookie's, Ray Ray's, Nuck Nuck, Boquishas, and Quinterius' in them houses. Knock all of them down. Then build your house and then build you a mall. Put in a nail shop, a weave salon, barber shop, shoe store, and sell some lottery tickets and your own personal museum. Woo-wee, it's gonna be something else. Thank y'all very much, and please see the representatives in the hallway for your check cashing card and your reservations for Pit Rillas, the Money Vault, and the real estate rep.
Yo, this your boy Chris Brown.
David West of the Golden State Warriors.
Hey, this is Dr. J.
This is Shaq Adocious.
Yo, what's up? This is Ice Cube.
This is Nicki Minaj.
And you're listening to a little R&R.
R&R on sports.
What I got, you got to give it to your mama. What I got, you got to give it to your papa. What I got, you got to give it to your doctor. You do a little dancing and you drink a little water. What I got, you got to get it, put it in you. What I got, you got to
And we're back. So we were talking about the racism thing in Boston, but I want to make sure that people get this. We're not just talking about Boston.
No.
And speaking of Boston, let me say this. I think the reaction was very, very classy and whatnot from the mayor to the head of the organization,
Sam Kennedy, Sam Kennedy,
Red Sox organization on down.
And they've obviously taken it very seriously.
I think that was good. But this guy says that this is routine.
Yeah.
But you know,
in 2017, 2017.
I'm trying to figure out, what do you get out of disrespecting professional athletes? I don't understand, because Patrick Beverly just went through
in the
this
NBA,
same
you cost
thing
them money.
But I'm saying that, but this thing with throwing racial epithets and all kinds of stuff at players, these
while cheering for the black players that are on your team.
Yeah.
But y'all can't extract logic.
No, there is no
from
logic.
Craziness and
For
foolishness,
sure.
and racism is the most illogical, stupid thing in the world. So you can't make it make sense. Why do you cheer for black players over here and then call these? No, you can't do that.
No, I'm not saying it's an exception. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But it is what I call, and you guys know this, it's the gift that keeps on giving. It is white supremacy and racism is passed on. It's handed down from one generation to the other. White people, you got to do better. You continue to teach your children hate. Now, I've been black for a long time. I've met a whole lot of black folk, and I've never, ever met any black person that was taught by their parents to hate white people. So I'm saying that the reason I've got to, and I'm mad. I'm mad because I got to sit down with my granddaughter, who is 8, and have the same type of conversation with her that I had with her mother.
Right. And that your mother had with you.
Because things have not changed. That my mother had with me and so forth.
You know what's interesting is having that conversation with 2 young, one teen and one preteen boy.
Yes.
My 2 sons, and really trying to help them understand why a parent doesn't want their kids to play with him, that he's found a kinship with from school.
Right.
Why certain people do not want to invite us over and things like that, or have us over.
And you had that situation, a kid that your kid was very close to.
Oh yeah, and I mean, even like on the soccer team, where parents have picked people that they wanted to invite over, and just, I guess, inconspicuously, all the kids of color were not in that group.
But we'll recruit the hell out of them.
Right, exactly. So it's, I mean, we got some real problems, specifically in the South, but also in other parts of the country, obviously.
It's
in the whole country. We have a problem in this country. It is in the entire nation, and we elected it to
Actually,
run
you want to know the truth? In a lot of ways, it's global.
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
I mean, because soccer stadiums, they have this.
I mean, as Richard Lapchek talked about in a previous show.
It wasn't peanuts, it was bananas.
If you have not listened to the Richard Lapchek show, go back into the archives of R&R on Sports. And if you had the podcast, you could do it. Go back and check it out, because it was a great show, and he had some very insightful comments.
So playoffs. I say in the East, that there's a collision course that I think Boston and Cleveland are headed toward.
I agree.
Now,
you
seem to think that the Wizards are going to wake up in DC. They might wake up. I don't think they can win the series.
As the saying goes, the series doesn't start until someone loses at home. And so my thing is, I want to see what Boston does in DC. Because I think John Wall is playing some bad. He's playing some awesome ball. And
Bradley Beal.
Bradley Beal didn't play that well in Game 2. In fact, he had the same problem as Houston had in Game 2. And that is, you relying on that jump shot so much. When that jumper ain't falling, you end up being stuck, and you don't contribute.
Right.
You don't have any real ability to contribute in other areas. And I think that's what happened with Houston. I think that's what happened with Washington and Bradley Beal. And I think it will continue to happen for those one-dimensional players and teams.
But I do know we've had a little tit for tat between Otto Porter and Isaiah Thomas, because first we got the tooth knocked out, and he played through it, picked it up, and took it over to the bench. And then the return was that Porter got a bloody nose. Heck of a bloody nose.
So would you say that Isaiah Thomas is in his muse cage?
I mean, if he is, Kobe Bryant is puppeting, because whatever advice he's giving him.
But I think it's interesting that Kobe Bryant would be advising a Boston Celtic.
Well, I said that he initially called him to offer condolences for his sister China, and they got, of course, to talking ball, but they have reviewed film together, and Kobe has been very insightful, and obviously it has elevated and motivated
53
Isaiah Thomas.
He put 53 the other night.
So what about in the West? San Antonio had. I think San Antonio still had some mud on them from the Grizzlies in the first game.
I think so too.
That's what, the grit and grind.
It was a long series. It was a physical
series. And Pop
series.
said the Grizzlies make them play in the mud. So I think they still had some mud on them in the first game. But
a bit. But Harden looked good.
Second game they came back.
Kawhi Leonard. It's a matter of pride.
Kawhi Leonard checked Harden from the beginning to the end. And I think that's difficult for Harden to have that kind of player.
Harden has to play defense now.
No, but I'm not so much Harden playing defense, but I even talking about on the offensive side.
Yeah.
Harden has typically had a player that's not a
Free
three,
range.
a three size.
Yeah.
And then, with Kawhi's exceptional defensive prowess,
Yep.
I think that is proven to be difficult. And length. Especially the arms.
Yeah.
And getting around him with those passes is kind of difficult when you got a brother with a 7-foot wingspan.
So
I'm a little
do you think
concerned about LaMarcus.
Do you think, speaking of concern, you concerned about Tony Parker?
I think Tony Parker's
wasn't looking good.
I think Tony Parker's done and could be done for his career.
Yeah.
Seemed like a pretty serious knee injury.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will know by time this show.
Did you see the look on his face? He was laying there on the floor and he was like, I know this ain't
bad.
good.
Yeah, This is bad. But I tell you, Patty Mills, he put
the
Patrick,
Aboriginal.
He put Patrick Beverly in the blender.
Oi.
Yeah.
Speaking of Patrick Beverly and recurring back to the theme in racial Boston, what do we think about fans provoking players to the point that words are being exchanged and players are getting fined?
I like what Boston did. I think Boston has the right. Boston
ban them for life.
Yeah, the banning for life. The Red Sox. I think that's what has to happen. This whole thing of calling out players and being disrespectful, I don't get it. I don't have a problem with you cheering for your squad, but don't be calling me all kind of names and being disrespectful and nasty and calling me, as a man. These are some big men. These are some big athletic men.
It's big money. They're literally getting fined tens of thousands of dollars. And Patrick Beverly didn't say anything disrespectful. He approached the man, talked to him like a man.
And then what does your punk butt get out of that?
Exactly.
What do you get out of that?
The satisfaction that you caused him money.
What?
Yeah, I don't get that. But switching gears real quickly, I really have a problem with this situation with Joe Mixon. I want to go to the NFL draft just real quick in that you got an 18-year-old kid that was actually provoked, which no one says that he was provoked. Now, he overreacted.
He didn't swing first.
But he did not swing first. And then number two, the girl has a rap sheet that is long as heck.
Right.
And then you got this kid who was 18 years old, served a year, and that's not enough. And then you got NFL elderly executives.
Let me classify served a year because it wasn't served a year like he went jail time. He served the year as in he did 100 hours of community service and he had to sit out a year.
Yeah.
So the court of public opinion is trying to crucify the kid.
And I don't understand that. I really don't understand it. I understand that domestic violence is a horrible thing. But what I don't understand is that you have this zero tolerance when we all know we did dumb stuff that might not have been recorded. So he that lives in the glass house, throwing stones.
Hey, and with that, we have to move on. But look, do y'all know that there were, you heard Roger Goodell get booed, right?
Yeah.
You know how many people were out there booing him?
How many people?
250,000 people
that's
showed
a
up
whole lot of
in
booing.
Philly outside for the NFL draft.
You know what that would do?
I didn't know that.
You know what that would cause me to have an inferiority complex.
Yeah, would it?
Shoot, he just called his buddy in
And
the White
with that,
House.
we're going to move on. We've got a tremendous eye conversation with Tarik Black. You guys stay with us, talking about everything.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more R&R after this.
Your boy Chris Brown.
David West of the Golden State Warriors.
Hey, this is Dr. J.
This is Shaq Adocious.
Yo, what's up? This is Ice Cube.
This is Nicki Minaj.
And you're listening to a little R&R.
R&R on sports.
When you walk by every night, talking sweet and looking fine, I get kinda hectic inside. Baby, I'm so
And here we are with Eye Conversation here on R&R on Sports. And for those of you very long and loyal R&R on Sports listeners, you will recall our very first show, I believe.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't remember that, man.
I
That's
said if
3
you're
years ago.
long and loyal
That means you was
listener.
here on the very first show. If you were with us on the very first show, send me an email or something, and I'm gonna send you something.
Regardless, Larry. let me finish this, please. We want to welcome back to R&R on Sports, third-year Los Angeles Lakers player, Memphis's own Tarik Black. Tarik, welcome to R&R on Sports.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and I just thank you guys for giving me the opportunity. I appreciate that.
Cool. You continue to make us proud, man. I mean, you know, we tell people we know you.
Yeah, and I get a lot of props for that. You know, I'd be like, man, I know Tarik Black. He'd be like, oh, for real? I heard you developing a reputation as a bruiser out there in L.A.
You know, I'm working on it. You know, you have to present a package in the NBA. And they pay you for a product. You know, you go to Starbucks for a brand, right?
Uh-huh.
You walk in that Starbucks and you know what you're getting when you leave out. You know you're getting some good coffee, good quality, and you're gonna be satisfied. And it's really the brand.
And the ambiance is great.
Yeah. It's the brand.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the brand. And so the same thing with the NBA. Guys that you see stick around, and guys who you see have illustrious careers, they give you a brand. You know what you're getting contract by contract, year by year. When this player comes back, you understand the brand that they have and the tag they have and what you're paying for and what you're getting. And so I'm trying to box it in and brand myself, but also not boxing in too much to give myself the opportunity and to fulfill my potential, because I've only been around 3 years.
That's very insightful, man, because most young people, young guys in the league like yourself don't realize that. They don't understand that. They think it's all about them, and they don't understand the image and the package and all of that. But since Kansas, your journey, your path has been very, very unusual. So,
to say the least.
Yeah. So you left University of Memphis.
Yes.
A lot of fans had their fist balled up. I lost. Okay, yeah, a lot of young guys don't realize that they are indeed a brand in and of themselves. But your journey was a little unusual. Left University of Memphis, went to Kansas for a year, played at Kansas. Talk a little bit about how you got to L.A. How did you get to the Lakers?
So, speaking on the portion of branding, that's a huge part of why I'm in the NBA, because of my branding.
Okay, how?
So, for myself, think about this portion. I graduated early, so that's part of my brand. That defines character to the people around you. That defines
Taking care of business,
academic achievement, the discipline, things that come with, oh, do I want this player?
Right.
So it's not subliminal as much as it is just not written yet. It's not written down that we're looking at this, but when we see that this guy graduated in 3 years and did what it took, and plus we see that he actually did really well at the University of Memphis. He's in Sports Illustrated. He was a mock draft after his sophomore year. He did post 10-6 as a freshman, or 10-4. That was his average as a freshman in college.
He did major in finger painting.
Exactly. So when you see those things, you automatically, before you even meet me, say, well, this kid is okay. Now, one thing I did do that didn't help my brand was the tattoos. That didn't necessarily help my brand, because also when you're looking at me,
everybody in the NBA has tats.
Everybody in the NBA, when I was leaving college, it's a different story.
Oh, okay.
It's a different connotation that comes with that college player than that NBA guy who does interviews all the time, who plays all the time, who has a reputable.
Oh, wow, he's preaching right now, bro. You preaching right now. I mean, you know, because, I mean, in all honesty, most people don't realize that you are being judged, regardless of whether you want to accept it or not, whether you think it's right or not. You are being judged.
Well, beyond a player, beyond your play.
But everybody's judgment, that's the thing about it. Every human being that walks this earth judges somebody for something.
That's right.
So we can't be mad at each other for making judgments, and stereotypes are formulated based off the majority instead of the individual. So now I walk around as an individual to break down those stereotypes that come with my image.
All right, hold on. This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with Los Angeles Laker Tarik Black.
Yes, but so that's part of me getting to the NBA.
Okay.
I aligned myself with the University of Memphis. Coach Passion had a great reputation, or it has a great reputation. You know, doesn't curse, is a good guy. So I came here. I graduated early. That helped my brand. Then I went to Kansas. Coach Self, one of the most reputable coaches in college history. Period. And now I go play for him, and then I was a great kid there. I finished my master's. I finished the season strong. I didn't start it necessarily strong, and the season as a whole might not have went great for me, but I killed it in the tournament. I was the best player on the team in the tournament. I ended up conference tournament. I was probably top 5 on the team, top 3 on the team, best players on that floor. And then end of conference play, I did really well.
Okay.
And so now you're talking about ending the season very well. So now the NBA's back interested, like, okay, this kid can play. But also, guess what? My brand. Now Coach Self, when the NBA team calls,
he's got good things to say.
And it's coming from a guy like Coach Self telling them, oh, he's a good kid, in which he's mass-produced NBA players. We can go down the list. I play games now in the NBA where I'm looking around. We played the Timberwolves. It was 5 Jayhawks in the gym at once. 6. It was like 5 or 6 of us on, not necessarily on the floor, but on the court as far as on the bench and on the floor playing at one time.
Are y'all still close since you've been in the NBA?
Oh yes, even the guys like Kansas. Somebody told me this, in which I never really paid attention to it, but it's actually pretty true. Somebody told me that I loved, and they didn't go to the University of Kansas. They said I love the University of Kansas because it seems like when you guys who have played there get together, you guys associate with each other very well, and you continue a brotherhood. Even like, for instance, me and Cole Aldridge. Cole Aldridge's PR person from the Timberwolves left and came to the Lakers just this month. When he came, he said, Tarik, I want to work with you in community relations because I talked to Cole about you. He had nothing but awesome things to say about you. Me and Cole talk before every game and talk extensively. Like, how you doing, Cole? You okay? You coming out to LA, man? Da-da-da. Cole went to Kansas 2 years before I got there and was gone.
Wow.
I never played with them.
Right.
Wow.
Guys like Brandon Rush, every time we see each other, what's up? Hey, how you doing, young fella? I'm proud of you.
Right.
Keep doing your thing.
Right.
Rock chalk.
Right.
And so there's a connection, a bond. Me and T-Rob, me and Thomas Robinson playing this year. Like we had a connection this year. Like we played together. And it extends amongst their family, but it goes beyond whether you're in the NBA or not. If you played at Kansas, period. Brady Morningstar, I never played with him. When I went back, I used to eat at his parents' restaurant all the time. Go sit down with Brady Morningstar all the time. So there's a brotherhood that comes with. It's like a fraternity. Once you play at Kansas, you're in that fraternity, and whether we went through this thing together or not, I can appreciate you going there, and there's a bond and connection just because you came and played at this university.
Right. Fantastic. This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with soon-to-be All-Star. We're going to speak it. We're going to speak it forth.
I believe it.
Do that.
Speak it forth. Soon-to-be NBA All-Star Tarik Black. Now, Tarik, you have, like you said, you've had a long journey. If you could talk to that guy who was waiting to be drafted from Kansas, what would you tell that guy today sitting where you are?
That conversation we don't have time to go over, but no, I'm joking. But very simply put, I think I have very few points for him. For one, God got you. Don't trip. God got you.
Don't trip, yeah.
God got you. All the trials and tribulations that come with trying to make this league, they're not your pressure to deal with. God got you.
Okay.
The second thing I would tell him is trust that God got you. Go out there. You are in this position for a reason. Teams like you for a reason. And you're even in a position to get drafted for a reason. So never lose your confidence. Now, don't be cocky. Be coachable. And always understand that you have to get better and that you're actually really not that good compared when you're in the NBA, when you're getting drafted, compared to Dirk Nowitzki, a Tim Duncan, a Al Jefferson, a Zebo, a Marc Gasol, a Pau Gasol, a LaMarcus Aldridge, a Blake Griffin, a DeAndre Jordan, a Andre Drummond. So you
know those guys right out
night after night after night.
I play them. And so understand that you're not as good as them, but understand that, guess what? You're just entering your journey. They've been there. Right. They're 8, 9, 10, 7, 8 years in.
Right.
So understand that you're just getting your foot through the door, Tarik, but you're going to be just as good as them. Don't worry about it. God got you. Work hard. And don't lose your confidence. Keep your confidence and keep your belief in yourself.
Now, what's that one player that you just kind of lost it when you met him? Is there
Amari Stoudemire.
Really?
Oh, really?
Been my favorite player since, like, I used to watch hours of his film in high school. I knew every highlight reel on YouTube of Amari. I could tell you dunk for dunk what was going to happen on the highlight reels.
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
so conversely, who is it that you that's a handful for you that you really don't?
When you see
Look
him on the
forward
schedule,
to.
when you see him on the
Yes.
schedule, you're like,
Lord.
oh man.
I've gotten in this season, maybe my rookie year, my second year, I would have had an answer for you. In this season, because the NBA is, from the outside looking in, it's like, oh, this guy is really good. He does this, that. really and truly, guys are very limited. What people don't understand about NBA players is something that they do that's really great. Excuse me. I'll give you an example. Marcus Aldridge is amazing, right? He goes over the left shoulder, shooting the right jumper over the left shoulder, or he's going to drive you middle and draw the foul and do a right hand hook.
Practically every
Those are the
time.
two things every time. He's going to do that every time. And so now when you understand.
So we really do have go-to moves. Every player has go-to moves.
If you're going to be successful in the NBA, you have a go-to move, period. That's what Magic just told me. You have to work on your go-to move.
All right, and we got to go to a break, but we're going to be back with more with Tarik Black right after this.
But it's just a sweet, sweet medicine, baby. When I close my eyes, you're going to take it. It's so deep in my day.
Hello, I'm Howard Robertson.
J to the C.
And I am the magnificent, the amazing, the phenomenal Larry Robinson.
All right here on R&R on Sports, on the Sports Byline Network every Saturday morning. This is the best way to start your weekend.
Catch us, receive us, pass us on to your friends.
Wasn't that cute?
Yeah.
Wasn't that cute?
We also got some of the best interviews during our Eye Conversation segment.
Every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific.
R&R on Sports. Part of the Kazuki Network.
Hey, this is Dr. J.
Hi, this is Tweeka Ketchum.
This is John Hollinger, Vice President of Basketball Operations for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Tim Brown, NFL Hall of Fame inductee. You are listening to R&R on Sports.
Get out the way, get out the way, get out the way. Move.
Back with more R&R Eye Conversation with Tarik Black of the Los Angeles Lakers. So you went to Houston first.
Yes, correct.
How'd you like that analytics?
A year in Houston?
Hold on. How you like that analytics focus that Houston has? Because LA currently doesn't have focus on analytics like Houston did. Tell us what that's like playing in the Daryl Morey type of system.
Yes, you're completely correct. Two different dynamics, a system for a team. But a big thing with playing in an analytical system is it does kind of box things in and makes it simpler. Because you know what you're going to go out and do every night. Like, they want to shoot threes. So you know every night they're going to get up threes. So as a big man, if I'm not quite shooting threes yet, then I'm going to go out saying, well, get a lot of offensive rebounds. And then playing with James, you know James's game, and like a guy like Clint Capella. Really good friend of mine. We came in the same year.
Right.
I'm so happy for Clint that he's taken off. James helped him a lot. You know, you put him in another system, you're not sure. But with James and the way they play off of each other, and because the analytics, so you know every night what I'm coming out to do because of the analytical system, then now I can average 12 and 10 easily.
Okay.
You know, and I'm not saying it's just easy. Clint is really good. Everybody's not gonna get in that system and achieve the things that Clint is achieving. So don't get me wrong, Clint is really good, but it simplifies it for you. Whereas you come out to LA and it's not so analytical, it's about figuring out your game. You got all young players and you can just play. Now you reap the benefits of I can go out and play. I can just go out and work on my game, and if I feel like I have this potential, I can go out and just do it. But now it's not so simple. Now you're trying to figure out, okay, what am I out here on the floor to do? What am I trying to do? Okay, I'm trying to get this jumper off. Okay, well then I have to get here, or I have to read him. I don't know quite what he's going to do. So,
Speaking of James, MVP prediction, James or Russell?
You put me in a tough spot because James is my guy.
Okay.
Yeah, James is my guy. Russell has made history, so I will leave that up to the voters. I will leave that up to the
come
voters.
on, bruh.
I'm not
Come
asking
on,
who
man.
you would pick. I'm saying who do you think will get it?
Who I believe that the voters might go,
Right.
because some people argue that the wins are a major factor.
Yeah.
And so with the wins being,
And
a
we
factor,
say all the time, it's a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, I believe that the MVP has been given to the highest performers too, as well. But it depends on what the voters are going off of. If you're going off of numbers, it's clear cut. You know, it's no argument. But then if you're equating team success and numbers
And hype.
well, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't say it. He said it. So if you're equating that as well, then you have to throw in the mix that James has won more games.
Right.
He's won the matchups.
Right.
And His team is a higher seed.
Right.
And if you're throwing in his argument of the hype,
You got to look at Russell.
Right. This is on our own sports, and we're speaking with Tarik Black of the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, Tarik, one thing that you mentioned, James signed that big Adidas deal, and you've seen, and I'm sure you got other folks like Russell and other folks that's got big deals. What is it like when you have an unlimited supply of gear from a company? And I'm sure you see the boxes coming in and everything. I mean, just shoes for days, where you literally can wear a pair of shoes one day and just throw them away. What is that like, or is that different for you from college to pros?
it's way different because you don't have that benefit in college, of course. But at the same time, you know, you don't have to buy as many Christmas gifts.
So you give everybody gear, man.
Christmas gets easy. Christmas
Now, do your brothers wear the same size shoe you do?
Nah, but I can order for them too.
Very cool.
So we all walking around with Nikes on. We got Nike shoes, Nike shirts, and gear.
There you go.
But it's just a great benefit. In that instance, is about what you wear. But honestly, once you get to that point where something is open to you, you don't even really care about it as much. Like for me personally, in college, I was broke, didn't have any money. And so I really waited for the day where I can buy the new Jordans and things like that, because that's the culture I grew up in, wearing the J's, wearing the Air Maxes. And
right.
But once I got to the point where I did have that Nike account, and you have this much money to spend on a Nike account, and it's not your money.
Right.
And so you can just go order whatever.
Right.
Once I got to that point, it really made me happier seeing my mom, my brothers, and everybody around me have things. And like, for instance, being here in Memphis, I packed one pair of shoes to come here. I'm wearing them every day, and they're kind of squeaking. But it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me anymore because I have access to it. But it's the anxiety of getting to the access where you're at the point where, I'm going to order everything. I'm going to keep a bunch of pair of shoes. But if you see guys like some dudes, they got it anyway, so they're going to get a bunch of stuff because they're going to send it to them. But you see a lot of guys like Rudy used to give me shoes all the time. Rudy, give me shoes. Because I wore a size, and like you said, you're getting so many pair of shoes, you don't care anymore like that. Like, what do I have to prove? Like, what are my shoes really proving to you?
Right.
You know, so then it's like, well, okay, the people around me, it can really bless them. I can bless my brother who's working and who may not be able to buy the new shoes because he's paying rent and stuff like that. Okay, big bro, here goes a box of 20, and like, I'm sending you 20 pair of shoes. And it makes his day because, dang, I walked up to my doorstep and I got 20 shoes on my doorstep.
Wow, I bet you did, man. I bet you they are happy.
Yeah,
you know, that's crazy.
Now, what's it like for you to now be playing for Magic?
It's like, it's one of those situations where you know God is real. And I can say that for myself, and I cannot deny this. When I was younger...
You a big Magic Johnson fan.
Huge.
That was your guy.
Yeah. When I was young, I'm sitting here before you today, the type of man I am because I went and saw him speak. And it's crazy.
Wow. Oh, wow. You said that.
Yeah, you said that on the show.
Listening to him made you want to have a foundation and do
have
things
business
in the community.
My mom left his speech, and my mom...
When he was here?
Yes. When he was here at the National Civil Rights Museum.
Yeah, when he was awarded. Yeah. When
he got the Freedom Award, I remember everything. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, in which I'm pretty sure it is, he had a tan suit on. It was like brown. He was on the stage. He was huge. Like, I remember because back then I was younger. Now, you know, I'm his size.
You were what grade then?
It's hard to say. I think I was like 12 at that time.
Okay.
Because my mom was still working for the Civil Rights Museum, and she's been in St. Jude 14. No, I had to be younger.
Okay.
I had to been maybe 11, 10, 11. Right. But like, I remember seeing this monumental man. And like, as a kid, you like basketball, so I know exactly who he is.
Right.
Now, he's before my era, so I hadn't quite watched him. Like, now I've watched him, and I know exactly who he is. But at that point, it was just, I'm a kid, I like basketball. Excuse me, here goes one of the greats. He's up there speaking, but then I've always been a kid that could hear, that can listen.
Right.
You know, it's one thing to hear what people are saying, it's another thing to listen. I've always been a kid that could listen. And so listening to him and what he said, and me and my mom left, and my mom was like, you want to know what? He's a role model, Tarik, because he didn't allow what he did to define him. And and at the time, I wasn't playing basketball. At the time, I was in band. Mm-hmm. And it was just a life lesson that she wanted me to learn. And she was like, Tarik, don't allow what you do to define you, Tarik. I want to raise you to be a man of character, a man of moral, and a man of means. And so her message to me from his message was, Tarik, also, when we went to church, like a Sunday around that time, and we were late for church, and we had got dressed up. I was in my little shirt and tie. My mom had on her dress, but something clicked to her, and she never told me, but she just started driving around. I was like, Mom, where are we going? And she took me to like South Memphis, and it was like a portion of South Memphis that I didn't even know I was in Memphis anymore. And we were just riding around. Then she took me up to North Memphis. She just took me around Memphis, and she was showing me all the neighborhoods in Memphis. And I was, and so, but see, this thing though, my dad used to stay right by North Side. We stayed also off Florida and Gaines by Mitchell, and we also stayed on Evelyn in South Memphis. So this is the thing. So I know the hoods of Memphis, but it's just so vast that you don't know everything. So she took me to certain portions of them that I just didn't know where I was, and so I got to see in depth how dense the neighborhoods were in Memphis that were in poverty. And she took me around and she said, Tarik, you see these neighborhoods? If you ever make something of yourself, whenever you do something, you have an obligation to give back. And it was awesome. It was off the coattail of Magic's speech as well, coming back saying, be something bigger. I never saw myself as an NBA player. I saw myself as a person who plays in the NBA, but had a bigger purpose. And so those two things.
So that resonated with you.
Inspired me to this point where I am today, where the NBA doesn't mean the most to me. I'm not an NBA player.
Okay.
That's not my identity. Okay. I play in the NBA. I wake up in the morning, I'm a good basketball player. I learned that.
Right.
That's also something I would tell myself as I'm getting drafted. Tarik, you need to work on your game. You're not just amazing, but at the same time, as you work, when you wake up in the morning, you can play the game. Don't worry, don't panic about are you good enough or can you play the game? Yes.
Perfect segue into your vision for your foundation. Coming up, they're going to be, by the time people hear this, announcements would have been made relative to that already. What's going to happen? What's your vision for your foundation?
My vision for my foundation is life skills. So,
when you say life skills, are you talking soft skills? Or what type of skills are you actually defining?
So I'm elaborate more on it. So growing up in the city, I realized even myself in moving out and going to Houston, going to LA, going to Kansas, meeting different people, and also meeting the people of stature that I've met, how many things I never got the opportunity to see or learn, just growing up in the city. Things such as right now, I'm learning so much about taxes that I never got to learn about at that level. And it's something that simple. Something simple as doing taxes, equating your money. Something as simple as proper etiquette. How do I shake your hand? Now, my mom taught me these things. My mom, my granddad made sure. My granddad taught me how to tie a tie. So it's certain things that I definitely learned.
Right.
But it's certain things that I learned it to a certain level or extent.
Okay.
And once I got away and got a chance to get some fresh air elsewhere, I started realizing that how vast the world really is, and that I needed to be prepared, and also it's my obligation now that I understand how vast the world is to prepare these kids with life skills to get out into this world, and that the world is bigger than Memphis.
Well, what's the name of your foundation, Tarik?
The Tarik Black Foundation.
Okay, Tarik Black Foundation.
Tarik Black Foundation.
And the mission is to
to work with the kids in the community so that when teach them life skills so that they can one day come back in the community for themselves and advance the community.
Is it the underserved kids? The poor kids?
Oh, okay. Yes. Inner city. It's going to be inner city kids. It's going to be the poverty-stricken communities.
We are going to be excited, extremely excited that you're going to be back in Memphis. We have a lot of kids here, as you know, that need the input, the support, and everything else.
And it's hard work. It's hard. Know that it's a lot of work.
Yes.
And in Memphis, Tennessee, it's hard work because some of these kids have challenges and serious things. So, you're going to have to get deep with it. But I'm going to put him on the spot.
I'm going to put him on the spot. We do our conversation lives where we actually go to these schools and sit down and talk with professional athletes and professional sports stakeholders.
Yes.
And we would love to have you really share your story with one of our partner schools in the upcoming months.
I would love to. And if I can say this as well, that even in starting my foundation, my mother runs my foundation. She's the president. And we have our board meetings. Like I tell my board, it's not about me. My name is on it, but that's just because of the circumstance. I always tell my board that it's about us. It's about what you guys want as well, what you guys envision, because everybody that's on my board is in the city. Like not everybody that's in my board. Let me take that back. The people who were in the meeting when we were meeting and setting up the foundation were saying that everybody's from the city. So I was like, you guys understand what this city needs too, and I don't know everything. Matter of fact, compared to all the knowledge, wisdom there is to know, I know very little. So help me. And I also extend that out into the city. This is not about us. It's not about the Tarik Black Foundation. This is seriously not just it's not a hobby of mine just to say I did something. Or not a hobby of mine just to say I have a foundation I'm trying to help. I'm not trying to help. I'm going to help. But the adage that I was raised on, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a community to uplift the city. Mm-hmm. And so it's not just about me and what I'm supposed to do, or my foundation, what we're supposed to do. No, it's about, as a foundation, we want to also challenge and involve the city and the communities to get involved as well and help uplift this thing, because it's not about me, it's not about my name, it's about this city becoming better, and that's something I vowed to.
But it's your brand.
Absolutely.
And that's going to bring people. Tarik Black, we appreciate you being with us here on R&R on Sports again. And as the great Joe Louis said, you can run, but you can't hide. We coming back after you. We got to have you back on at some future point, and we hope you look forward to doing that.
I look forward to it.
All righty, all right. We'll be back with more R&R on Sports. Don't go anywhere. Back after this.
Move. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. Move. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. Oh no! The fight's
Eye Conversation.
The executive director of the NBA Players Association, Ms. Michelle Roberts.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
He is currently managing director and chairman of USA Basketball, Mr. Jerry Colangelo, with us here on R&R on Sports.
Thank you, guys. Nice to be with you.
The one, the only, Detlef Shrimp.
Hey, Howard and Larry, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the show.
Ken Griffey Jr., how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Catch Eye Conversation on R&R on Sports.
Part of the Katsuki Network.
I'll play the blues for you.
Blues in the Basement with Stephanie and T. Shaw.
Some great festivals going on around the tri-state area.
Got your dancing shoes?
Man, as long as I'm with you, baby, I'm always be on my toes.
Drop that zero.
Bring your blues, boo.
I got them.
We'll see you.
Thank you.
Blues in the Basement.
Thrill is gone.
Blues in the Basement. Part of the Katsuki Network.
The thrill is gone away.
And we're back. Headed toward the door, about to say goodbye. But before we turn around and raise our arms to wave, and we say
5,000.
What?
Shalom.
Finally.
What?
Jennifer.
Yeah.
Go, baby.
What you got to say?
What
Tell
I
me
got
something.
to say?
Yeah, what you got to say?
See.
You tried to
I
get
got
some
something to
moves
say.
on me. I got
Intro like that, and
fascinated.
you blow
she
it.
blows
Come
it.
on.
Blows it.
Come
See,
on.
she always
I
fighting.
did.
Fighting, always suffrage. Just fighting for the feminist cause.
Suffrage.
But then when we throw the ball to you, you drop it. So let a brother get on it.
Well, hey,
now, first thing first.
Let me
first
start.
Thing first.
Let me start.
I want to give love to King James, who just moved into the hierarchy of the NBA scoring and moving past Kareem and got Michael Jordan in his sights. And I just want to say, keep going, King. Keep going, King. Keep going, King.
I'd like
He don't even need a travel agent.
I'd like to say that I think it's tremendous for an unemployed NFL quarterback to be giving away designer suits.
Colin. Outside of parole offices.
Specifically outside of parole office, specifically to brothers and others that need to go to job interviews and whatnot to try to get their lives back on track.
I love what this brother's doing, man. I hope he, you know what I hope for him? I hope he goes somewhere where an owner that has balls, like a Jerry Jones in Dallas, like a somewhere, someone like that. Somewhere where he can really do great work. Because I think he's on a path of really making a social impact. that we've not seen before from a professional athlete.
Yeah, he's a change agent.
Yeah,
and he wants to make
really,
a difference.
Yes.
And why should you be mad at somebody for that?
Who's doing all the right things and he's walking the walk
Just
and the
they sat down
talk.
at the racist national anthem that we simply
But you know what's worse? What's worse? Them hollering the N-word at a Boston game or him being colluded and castigated from the league for doing great work.
Fantastic question, and we'll get back to that at some future point. Y'all take care of yourselves. Be back here next week for same place, same time. R&R on Sports.
Auf Wiedersehen.
We out.
R&R on Sports is recorded live at LPI Studios in the heart of Memphis, Tennessee. Web designer Daniel Coates, executive producer Larry Robinson, written by Howard Robertson, and produced by Reggie Fine. R&R on Sports, part of the Kutsukian Network.